Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Friday, March 19th, 2021. We made it to the end of the week, guys. Congratulations. And it is a nice and beautiful day here in Chicago, although it's one of those tricky spring days where it looks like it's super warm out and we're getting tons of light coming into the windows and the apartment's getting hot. But outside it is a little bit chilly and quite a bit windy today. But I did manage to get in a nice, relatively easy run today. So feeling good about that. How are you guys doing today? Everyone listening in on the podcast, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a good run or a good commute or just enjoying whatever it is you're doing while you're listening. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts while I'm doing stuff like, just household chores, like around the house kind of stuff, doing laundry, making dinner, doing the dishes, that kind of stuff, walking the dog. So I've been getting through a lot more. It's surprising. It's only like a couple minutes at a time here and there, but I'm getting through just a lot more content that way. I'm kind of running out of things to listen to, or at least the normal things that I'm listening to. So I'm glad to be discovering a lot more new podcasts these days. But hopefully that's one of the ways that you guys are enjoying this audio-only podcast as well, or at least the audio-only version. Everyone that's watching this on YouTube after the fact, welcome to you guys too. Hopefully you guys are having a good week, or depending on when or where you're watching this from, hopefully you're having a good weekend. Philip Bourne says, yo, what's going on? Just returned from a 3.5 hour 12K walk with Laura, the dog. Haven't run since Sunday, starting to feel guilty about it. If you're not feeling it, I say don't push it. I mean, unless you've got like a race that you're training for, or, unless it's your job, I would say when you don't feel like running, you don't necessarily have to. It might be better to not, but a 3.5 hour walk, that's a long walk. I've been on some of those when I go out with the kids on the weekends. They're very tiring in their own right. All right, Steve76 says, hope Ben Parks feels better. I've had bouts of panic attacks and they're not fun. Yeah, Stevie, thanks for the follow-up on that. I hadn't, I looked around for him online the other day and I was like, where is Ben? Because so one of you guys, was it you, Stevie, that mentioned that like you hadn't seen or heard from Ben in a while. And, I was like, yeah, you know what? I haven't heard from him in a while either. What is going on? So I was kind of looking around on Strava and YouTube for him, and I hadn't seen him in a bit. So, you start to get worried about people. But he did post a video today, and he's been having some anxiety or some other issues that are becoming like physical, so he's mentioning that he's having physical pain about it. So, he says he's getting better, but, I assume that kind of thing is always a work in progress, but, I wish him nothing but the best. I'm glad to see that he's back, and at least for a little bit, I'm not to say not only for a little bit, but even if it's part of a progression, I'm glad to see that, he's not like completely disappearing, and I'm just glad to see him, for at least for selfish reasons for me, because that's the main way that I interact with him. So I wish you well, Ben. John Ritchie says, hi, Ko. Hope all goes well this weekend. You'll be grand up the dubs. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'm getting old that I don't know what that. You'll be grand up the dubs. Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out, but I don't know. I think I'm just getting old. Peter Shaw says, Ko, let's go March Madness. Yeah, I don't really follow college basketball. I haven't followed college basketball in a long time, but I used to enjoy just the March Madness, just the kind of like the franticness of it all. But the last basically since I've had kids, I follow less and less sports. The only thing that's changed is I've been becoming much more interested in watching running over the past couple of years. So that's been new, but everything else just is less and less sports that I've been enjoying. Mark Salzman says, have a nice weekend. All right, you too, Mark. Have a good weekend. And Lee Jo Chung said, got my first Pfizer shot yesterday, and they recommended to rest today. So a rest day for her. Awesome. Well, that is fantastic news, and what a great reason to take a rest day. And it says, happy Friday. As Stevie76 says, hope Ben Parks getting back to full health. Hopefully the positive messages from the running community will help. Yeah, I think that will certainly help. He mentioned that, he takes like the message from trolls or just from negative people. He seems to be taking them more seriously than they warrant. And so I can relate to that. It's definitely hard to hear some of that stuff sometimes. But yeah, hopefully he can kind of sift through that and feel the love that we're all sending. Chase the Summits here says, Kofuzi, have you been following the Barkley Marathon this year? Savage conditions out there. It looks like a no finish year. I was following it a lot yesterday. But then like once like Courtney Dauwalter was no longer in it, I was like, okay, I'm not that interested anymore. And then at some point, Jam Jam had to cut out. He didn't make the cutoff time. So then I was like, now I really don't know anyone left in it anymore. So it's a little bit less interesting to me then, you know. So, you know, I've been thinking a lot about the Barkley marathons, and I'm like, is it really a running race? You know what I mean? It doesn't. It seems more like about navigation. It's like an orienteering competition with a lot of running also in it. You know, so like I was spending a lot of time thinking about that. Like this doesn't feel like a running race. Like people that are good at running aren't winning, which is kind of like a hallmark of a running race. You know, the people that are good at running should be winning. So yeah, so that's something that I was thinking about. It was pretty bizarre. It might be another one of those years where it wasn't that long ago when like there was was it an article? There was a piece written about the marathons where it's like the year the Barkley marathons won, or was there a video about it? I don't remember, but I feel like that wasn't that long ago. All right. Jeff Elliott says, hello, people. What's going on, Jeff? Good to see you again. And Mank Ed says, is anybody following the Barkley Marathon? Yeah, we got some people following it in here. Steven Gersdorf says, hello. What's going on, Steven? And Sergio Bogas is here as well. Good to see you, Sergio. Look at those sunglasses. Those look nice. Gets me excited for warmer weather coming. Let's see. Where's Carrie? Here. Gary Smith says the hair is fire today. Yeah, well, you know, I've been some days I've been pulling it up, trying to get it into like this little man bun thing. I mean, I can get it up in the man bun pretty regularly now. It's not too hard, but some days it just doesn't feel like it wants to be out there. So yeah, I go back and forth. Steven Gerzer said, Coca put on a gold chain and a pair of Nike Cortez and he fit right in here in LA. Okay. Maybe. I got to tell you, I'll be honest, I've never owned a gold chain or Nike Cortez. I think that was more of a West Coast thing. On the East Coast, it was about the Air Force Ones. Not that I don't think I ever had Air Force Ones either. But yeah, I don't think I ever really noticed the Cortez, or I wasn't really aware of the Cortez silhouette. I mean, I'm sure I was aware of it and saw it, but I never really saw that shoe and said, "Oh, that's the Cortez," until fairly recently. So it's like it's not a shoe that has like a ton of history of sentimental value to me. But like once you notice it, and then you go back and you look at images from like the 90s basically, and then you're like, oh, it was everywhere. Everyone had those apparently. Oh, Jeff Elliott says, listen to the Some Work All Play podcast. It's from David and Megan Roche, who you probably know from the GRL Ask Coach Roche. Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out. I've been basically relying on Twitter for a lot of new podcast recommendations because people, I think, are getting better. I know I have a hard time with it too because I don't, like, if I'm on a podcast, I typically forget to like when it comes out because there's usually a lag in time between like the interview or like when I get on the call and then when the podcast comes out. And so I forget, and then it'll come out and then I forget to kind of help push it. But people are getting better. Other people, not me, are getting better about pushing like when they're on other podcasts, or people are good about promoting when other people that they follow are on podcasts. So that's something that I've been trying to do as well. Is like when I enjoy a conversation, making sure I share that. And so that's what I've been doing to listen to a bunch of podcasts that I'd never heard of before. Some of them stick. Some of them like, okay, well, look at some of these other guests. Maybe I'll subscribe to this one and start listening to it regularly. Others I'm like, this might have been just the one, but I did enjoy this one. Hopefully they'll get some other guests that maybe pique my interest more, but I'll have to look at Some Work, All Play. I like that too. I like that phrase. All right. Greg Itahara says, just got a new treadmill. Introvert running just got more introverted. You want to get more introverted, Greg? I mean, everyone else is like, even most of the introverts are like, I'm done being introverted. I could be extroverted for like maybe like a day, and then we'll go back to being introverted again. But Greg's doubling down. Love it. Love it. My wife and I were thinking about, or maybe not. No, I was talking to my daughter about it when we were going for a walk yesterday. We walked by another building in the neighborhood that has like their workout room, like on the ground level. And as you walk by it, you can kind of see into it. It's kind of like the windows are opaque. So like you can't like stare at people exercising, thankfully. But like, I saw people in there and I was like, oh, if we get a vaccine soon, the next time it rains real hard, I can just hop on a treadmill. That'll be nice. So like I haven't done that in a long time. So the treadmill has its benefits. I've come to terms with it. So yeah, I really wish. My wife was like, should we get one in here? I'm like, no, we cannot get one in here. It's going to be too loud. I was very tempted. And she's like, yeah, you're probably right. She was thinking about getting a Peloton. And I was like, if you want, go ahead, get it. She's like, nah, I'll take too much space. So I've been trying to like encourage her, like to just put it somewhere for now. But she's like, nah, never mind. So she's been walking a lot though. So she's been getting outside. Chris Napolitano says, Nike Invincible arrived today. Woo woo. Awesome. It's a fun shoe. I really like that one. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. PG says he bought the Saucony Endorphin Pros and going to wear them tomorrow for a first run. That's a good one. I really like the Endorphin Pro for going faster. It didn't completely agree with me for like long runs, but for faster runs, then that's where it really shined for me. Dave Cowdrey says, hi, Kofuzi from London. Are you live streaming every day now? Well, I'm trying to live stream every day. But I was just thinking about it today, and I'm not quite ready to like make the announcement on it, but I am thinking that at some point I probably need to change the time to work out better for my daughter's school schedule, because that's starting to change now as conditions are kind of improving here in Chicago. So I might need to change the start time for the live stream. And then I was thinking, well, I mean, at some point it's not going to be 7 days anymore, but for now it's 7 days. For a while longer, it's going to be 7 days, but we'll see what happens. I'm keeping a close eye on, like, I think if we can get to the point where there isn't a place in the world that has like lockdown measures still in place, then I'll start thinking about it. But like with, is it Spain or no, is it France? Places in Europe are starting to kind of go back under again in terms of locking things down. A lot of you guys in the UK, I think, just coming out from a period of some sort of lockdown measures. So like that's still happening. So I feel like, the whole point of this live stream started out as a way to make sure people could stay home safely and not be bored and still connect with other runners. So as long as there's still a need for that, I think, I mean, we'll see how much longer I can do it, but just about every day. All right. Albert Long says cowbells for Carrie Smith for completing the Goggins challenge. Well done, Carrie. Awesome work. Here comes the cowbell for you. Nice. That was too quiet. We'll do one more. There we go. Now that's a good cowbell. I was listening to Rambling Runner, and he had someone on that did the Goggins challenge as well. And it sounds interesting. I think that if it were done in the summertime, that would be something that I would do. But like right now, like I don't really want to do I don't like overnight. I don't like running in the dark. I really don't like running in the dark. But I think running in the dark in the cold when I'm sleepy, it just sounds so terrible. So I don't know if I could do it. But if there's like a summer one, maybe. But I don't know. It's an interesting idea. It's very tempting. But awesome. It's very impressive as well. So good work, Carrie. And PG, going to attempt to beat his PB tomorrow at a half marathon. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, PG. And PG, yeah. So you're going for the half marathon and the Endorphin Pro first run. Ooh, that'll be fun. That'll be real fun. Stay up on your toes. I mean, you don't have to be like on your tippy toes, but yeah, stay up towards the 4 foot. You'll be rewarded if you can. Yeah, Chase Summon says I'd call it an endurance race more than a running race. Yeah, for the Barkley marathons. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it's more of a, like, I guess it's orienteering, or speed orienteering maybe, because you have to like look at a map and stuff, right? And then it's like a scavenger hunt in there too, so it's just kind of fun. I like the idea, but like, like I wouldn't be able to do it for so many reasons. Just first of all, like the fact that you need a map, and then the running, yeah, I'd be real bad at that. David Lidstone's here. Good to see you, David. He says, been busy with school recently and not been able to make it on. Yeah, well, and I think that for you guys with the time change in the US, it makes it harder, doesn't it? I think Oren was saying that it makes it harder for him, at least, to get on, not only with being busy with school, but with the hour change. So, yeah, Carrie Smith says, do it, Mike. Video opportunity. Yeah, I feel like whenever someone does something that's really like miserable and terrible, they're always very enthusiastic about recruiting more people. So like, that's kind of how I used to feel about marathons. I'm like, running marathons is miserable. I don't know why people always do it and then try to get other people to do it. It's kind of like like a running version of this pen smells terrible. Smell this kind of thing. Yeah, but so I don't know about it, but yeah. It sounds. I don't. If I think that if I could do it with another person somehow, like if it was like, if I could go somewhere, like not necessarily go camping because I don't really love camping, but somewhere where I was like, maybe had a cabin with a shower access, and I could go away for a weekend and do it. That's kind of like I think I would want to do that. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says, for the Barkley, he says, I think you sort of have to label your own map after getting clues. And imagine trying to manage all that during an ultra when I have trouble doing pace math during hard effort. Sounds impossible. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'll get lost even if I have directions coming to me on a watch if I'm running hard. And so it's just like, something could be telling me where to go and I'll still screw it up. So, that also seems fun, but like, I don't think I'd ever have an opportunity to run that. And, that's probably for the best. All right. Nodet says, hey, Kofuzi, finally made my first stream. Welcome. Glad to have you here. He says, would you say exclusively running on a treadmill would hurt my performance? Live in a hot and humid environment. I don't think it would necessarily hurt your environment, your performance. I think that there would be a couple of things that I'd be concerned about is like, the treadmills are, not necessarily accurate in terms of distance or pace all the time. And so like something that you think that you might be able to run based on your treadmill running, you might not be able to run, or you might be able to easily exceed and do better than when you get out on the roads. And so that'd be one concern. And also like, I just feel like an 8-minute mile, like, which is like a moderate pace for me, easy to moderate, is like really like pretty easy to do outside. Like if I'm not paying attention and I'm just enjoying the weather, I'll hit that. But 8 minutes on the treadmill, sometimes it feels really hard. And I'm like, oh, this shouldn't feel so hard. It's not that fast of a pace. And so like, I think the perceived effort is very different as well. So like when it comes to like training on a treadmill and then hopping onto the roads for a race, there could be a little bit of like a translation error, mentally. So like, that's where I would be careful for it. And I wouldn't want to do like, 99.5% of my running on the treadmill and then race every once in a while on the roads. That's the only main thing that I would worry about. But from like a cardiac perspective or building aerobic base perspective, I think it's a great way to do it if you like running that way. Most people don't because they think it's boring. But when you do it that way, then it's a softer surface to run on than like asphalt or concrete, and it's a controllable environment. So, and there's a lot of reasons why it's good, but most people just kind of like don't find it entertaining. But if you lived in like, like a perpetually humid environment, like Florida, for example, I could see running a lot of your running on a treadmill, or I would try to find a time of the day that maybe it's a little bit more bearable. All right. Leona says, Ben Parks posted his first vlog in weeks, openly shared about challenges with mental health and importance of talking to someone about it. He's on the mend. Yeah, Leona, we were talking about that right at the top. But I'm glad to see him. And I'm sure like that video kind of sucks to make too. You know what I mean? And so like, that shows a lot of courage and resolve for him to be able to kind of talk about it. Cause he could have just been like, guys, you know how it is. Sometimes it's hard to stay motivated. I feel it too. And he could have just glossed over it easily, and no one would have thought, anything otherwise. So, that kind of like openness is definitely appreciated. At least from, I think, everyone that would be like in this room, so to speak, here. So we appreciate that. And, we're sending him our best wishes and support. All right. Sean Marshall wants to know, would you ever go minimalist and try to stick with just a few shoes and little tech for an extended period of time? I was thinking about trying to pick up a pair of minimalist shoes. I like the Zero shoes just for a while, just to see what that's like. I don't think I'm going to go with the Vivo. What is it? The 5 fingers shoes. I don't think I'd ever do that. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to wear those shoes. But I was thinking about picking up a pair of minimalist shoes just to kind of see what that's all about. Maybe I would use them for when I'm walking around, like taking the dog for a walk or going for walks with kids or playing with the kids, like at the playground kind of thing. So I've thought about it just to mix it up. And again, just to give my feet different kind of stimulus or stimuli, and just see if I enjoy that or not. So that's probably something that I'll do over the summer at some point. But like only doing that, that's an interesting idea. But I probably won't, just because there's just so many things to review. And I feel like there's going to be a lot by the end of this year that I'm going to be like, there were a lot of shoes that I really should have run in, so that's like the main thing. But I could easily see like going like techless, that I could do. If I was and just run an entire plan on perceived effort, that'd be an interesting experiment. That'd be kind of fun. I don't want to do that, but I think it'd be interesting to do that. All right. Let's see. Jeff Light says, this is how nice the roaches are. I tagged Ko in the latest tweet about an episode, and Dave responded, thank you. You're amazing. So, that is nice. Yeah, I like nice people. I'm trying to surround myself with more nice people. That's always, I think, a good way to go. So I'll definitely check out the podcast. All play, no work. What was it? It's something. I know to look for the roaches, so I'll look for that. Spinny Run says, thoughts on Atreyu the artist getting a pair at the end of the month for a marathon? Yeah, I think it could definitely be a good marathon shoe. I don't know that it's a fast shoe, so like I wouldn't really reach for it for like a 10K or a 5K. But for a lot of long runs, it's very comfortable both at easy pace plus at moderate up to like threshold pace. So very good there. I certainly can see using it for a half marathon training and racing. For someone that's looking for something different, or for someone that's looking for something that can be used for a couple, like you don't have to buy a separate like speed day shoe and marathon racer, I think it's a really great fit. The upper's comfortable. It's a little bit warm, but it's a comfortable upper. It's pretty stripped down, really lightweight, and it's a nice squishy foam with some carbon in it. So it does the job. I enjoy mine. I was just thinking about running in them again today. I was looking through kind of like my mileage logs that I have. I keep it. I mean, I know Strava keeps track of mine, but I also keep a track of it separately on an Excel sheet. So I can see really quickly which ones are getting close to 100 or which ones are not. So that way I can kind of prioritize different shoes to run in. And I was looking at the artist. I was like, ooh, I haven't run in that one in a while. How am I going to run in that one some more? So that's something I've been thinking about. All right, Ben White helping me clarify. It's Vivo Barefoot and Vibram 5 fingers. Yeah, the Vibram 5 fingers, I'm not that interested. The Vivo Barefoot, that's the one that just looks like a regular sneaker, right? I think that's the one that I'm looking at. Oh, Corey Allen says, I run exclusively in the Zero Prio. I also own the Vivo Barefoot Stealth 2. The Zero give you a little more protection. All right, so maybe I'll look at the Zero. There's a guy who I follow on YouTube. His name is Chase something. And he's out of Austin. And he just keeps making all these videos about like minimalist shoes. And I'm not that interested in any of those shoes, but I just really enjoy his videos. So I've been learning a lot about different, or I guess I haven't been learning because I can't remember the names, but I've been consuming a lot of content about minimalist shoes just because I enjoy the videos. He's a funny guy. So yeah. So I think over the summer I might try and pick him up as like a casual shoe kind of, and maybe I'll run in them. I'm not sure. Clarence Lewis says, I purchased a pair of running specific shoes recently, but thought they were way too soft or were too soft. Yeah, the Brooks Revel 7. Is this pillow-like effect normal among running shoes? I've only used training shoes. I don't think I've ever run in the Revel. I've run in the Launch before. Or have I run in the Revel before? There was one that I ran in like only once. But it was like a stability version of the shoe. But I have an idea of which foam that is from Brooks. I mean, that's I would say a pretty kind of like normal running shoe. So most runners probably wouldn't call that a pillow-like effect, but it depends on kind of what shoes you're coming from. So I would say that is kind of normal, but if those are too soft for you, there are certainly other options out there that you can try that you might prefer. And so that's another thing that you can, if you're going back to a running specialty store, you could say I really want something that's a little bit more firm or that is a little bit lower to the ground, so that you're not getting as much squish as that. But a lot of runners tend to like having a little bit of squish, but there are a lot of people that don't. So, for example, the minimalist shoes that we've been talking about for a little bit, those are definitely going to be very different in terms of how much pillow softness you're feeling underfoot. So the nice thing is that as running becomes more and more popular, there is a combination for all different kinds of preferences. So I think there's going to be something that you're definitely going to be able to enjoy. Tennis Coat says, picked up some Nova Blast yesterday, but still can't run because shin splints. Just doesn't seem to go away. That's a tough one. I've been watching. I got into this like weird rabbit hole of the knees over toes guy, and then all of a sudden, like now everything that's in my YouTube feed is like 5'10" guy can dunk. So like it's all about like how to dunk a basketball videos, which like 16-year-old Kofuzi would have been all about it, but 41-year-old Kofuzi's like, I don't think I've touched a basketball this century. So, but knees over toes guy talks about shin splints, and I always thought like shin splints was just something that like, sometimes you get if your musculoskeletal system is can't keep up with your respiratory system as you're either getting fit or if you're ramping up in terms of like starting a new training plan or increasing intensity. But the way that knees over toes guy seems to talk about it is like there's ways that you can kind of prevent it by strengthening different things, which I guess is kind of like, not inconsistent with the way that I've kind of viewed it. But yeah, But I don't know that there's things that you can do to like once you have them make them go away. But I think there are things you can do to kind of prevent them. Yeah. So hopefully tennis, you'll be able to get into those Nova Blasts soon. Steven Gersdorf says, is there any way you can review shoes at the end of their lives? I used to do that. That used to be the only thing that I did. Because when I was looking at shoes, I was like, there's all these guys like Ginger Runner and Jamie that are reviewing all these shoes, and they're getting them early, and I don't even have them, let alone have early access to them. So I was like, what can I do that like sets me apart from what they're doing? And so I would review my shoes like it was all the only shoe I ran in was the Pegasus. So like I would run in a pair of Pegasus and make a video at them at 270 miles used to be my number. And I used to review them at 270 specifically because I was like, for me, at right around 300 is when like a pair of Nike shoes tends to cause me discomfort. And so at 270, that's when I start shopping for like my next one. That's how I used to be. Now I'm always getting shoes, but yeah, so I used to really enjoy that. And I think that I haven't done one of those in a very long time, probably 2 years. So I think this year I'm going to do at least one. I'm going to take the Invincible to 300 or 270 just to see what it looks like. So we'll have a long-term review of that one. And then after that, we'll do biopsies. we'll take core samples of the foam to see kind of like what it looks like under a microscope. So I'll have to buy a microscope and a corer of some sort and slide. So I got some shopping to do. I got some things I got to get. But yeah, I really enjoy the long-term review. And so like the 100-mile review was something that I always used to do as well, just because it took me a long time. I was only running like 40 miles a week compared to now, which is closer to 60 or 70. But so I was running less. And so it took me longer to get to that 270. So to go from like first run video to 270 seemed like a long time without talking about the shoe again. So I was talking about it kind of like, halfway almost, so that's where like the first run 100 and 270 come from. Yeah. All right. Remy says, Co made me spend some cash today and it wasn't shoes. What did you buy? What did you get? What did you get that wasn't shoes? Interesting. Remy got the Insta 360. That's a fun one. That's a good one. It's great on bikes too. I mean, I know like having a selfie stick and a 360 camera while you're on a bicycle, especially for someone like me who's like petrified of like just falling off the thing while it's going, is a lot to carry. But Richard Murray, the triathlete, South African triathlete, does a fantastic job. I think he uses a GoPro Max, but he does an amazing job with the 360 camera on he has a variety of different bikes. So he does a fantastic job with that. And it's a lot of fun, but it's also fun running with it. I've been seeing a lot more people running with 360 cameras and I'm loving it. Thomas got one, Believe in the Run. He's been doing great with his. And what's his name? Gary Robbins has been doing great with his. I think he uses an Insta 360 as well. I don't think he's using a GoPro Max. I think he's using an Insta 360. But he had a great series where I don't know how he would do it, but he would like remember like 4 or 5 like kind of like viewer questions, and he'd be like bombing down a hill covered in snow, running the 360 camera and still talking to it while he's like navigating this terrain and answering viewer questions. So I was just like, it's amazing. How does he not like have to pull out a piece of paper just even to remember the next question? And how is he not falling? So it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun to watch. So I'm excited to see what you could do with that, Remy. That's going to be nice. Corey Allen says, where did it go? Oh, as soon as I see something, it always jumps. Corey Allen said something about the World Vision. Here we go. Corey Allen says, the World Vision Global 6K for water is coming up. If interested, 6 kilometers is average distance. People, usually women and girls, walk to get water for their families in the developing world. That's a long way. I'll have to look into that, Corey. That sounds like a lot of fun. I was listening to Ali on the Run. She was interviewing Alfine Tuliamuk, and she was saying like Alfine Tuliamuk was talking about how like having a young baby is easier in the U.S. because like she doesn't have to do a lot of work. She's like, if I were still in like rural Kenya, like, and it was just her husband and her, she's like, I'd have to walk to just like get water every day, and it'd be really hard. So I was like, what? That sounds so. That's like a weird, bizarre sentence, or like weird like thing to say. Not weird, but it just seems so. It's so dissonant. It's so many, such different things. And so she's like, yeah, in a lot of ways, it's nice just to meet him and the baby. You don't have to walk to get water. Just like it's a very strange thing that a lot of places in the world that's still kind of like what they're contending with. And I've been thinking a lot about, I've been seeing a lot of initiatives for more minority representation in lots of things, but in running specifically, I've been seeing a lot about that. And, the big thing that I think about is like, yes, it's important. Like you can't be it if you can't see it. There's certainly that. So like giving opportunities to deserving people, not like just giving opportunities, but like including people and giving people that a shot of diverse backgrounds, I think is really important. That's one thing. But the other thing is like, like if you're at a position where like, you're going to have to walk to get water, like you're not going to engage in a sport really, or it's less likely that you're going to engage in a sport where it's like, yeah, I might like run so hard that I physically like I go through the physiological wall, and I've just burnt through all my glycogen for the day, because you're just not going to do that, So it's just like we got to fix those things first if we really want to get more people involved. So that's kind of like you need to think of it the first mile and the last mile. To pun not intended there, but that's an interesting thing, Corey. Thanks for sharing that. And Steven Gersdorf says, "Come on, Co. As far as long-term review of shoes, you really want to run down a pair of favorites to 500 miles just for the feel of it." I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever taken a shoe to 500 miles. Right around between 250 and 270, I will start to get. It'll feel like I'm starting to develop not a stress fracture, but maybe like a bruise in the right part of my heel. And that's actually a little bit further back from the spot where I usually get a lot of rubber wear on the outsole. If I'm in an older pair of shoes, as I'm running, like towards like that 40 or 50 mile mark of the week, I'll start to feel like as I'm walking around like barefoot at home, like, ooh, that heel is a little bit tender. So it's those like little things that to me are like, that's a signal, get new shoes. You won't have that problem anymore. So like I've never run a shoe to 500 miles as far as I know. I mean, maybe when I was in like high school, I did when I wasn't getting shoes a lot. It was, I kind of got like one pair of shoes per season kind of thing, but if that, so it's like, maybe at that point I did maybe, but even then in high school, I was running probably like 30 miles a week, 20 miles a week. So yeah, I don't think I would have gotten to that. And I don't want to. All those people that are like, I get 600 miles out of, a pair of my running shoes, like that's awesome. It's not me. I can't do that. All right, I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I'm way behind in some of the comments here. Yeah, Dr. Josh says, review shoes at the end of their lives, old yellow style Outback to close down the video. Yeah, maybe I'll have to do some antics when I'm like putting the shoe down. Maybe see. We'll see. Jeff Elliott says, speaking of shoes, I think Seth has a Sarah Hall shoe in his hands. Oh, that's exciting. That's very exciting. I'm glad to see that. I really thought that we would never actually see that shoe. I thought that was for sure going to be a perpetual prototype shoe that we would just never see. So it's really exciting and fast, much earlier than I thought we'd actually get to see it, especially since the World Athletics changed the rules on prototypes too. And Will Willing wants to know, did you ever get the New Balance RC Elite up to 100 miles? I think I'm at like 40 miles in on that shoe. At most, it's not more than 60. But so I'm in that 40. All like the super shoes from last year happen to be at about the same amount of mileage, right around between 40 to 60. So like I got some miles to put in some of these because at a certain point, the new ones are already going to start coming out. And so I'd like to get the 100-mile reviews in or be close to the 100-mile reviews in by the time like their replacements come out. But, you don't run in, carbon plated shoes all the time. So it's harder to kind of do that. And Steve Arnberg said that RC Elite 2 seems to be getting early raves. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. I've been seeing buzz. I've been trying not to read any reviews, but I've been, you see it on Instagram and people, talk about whether they like it or not. And kind of like the early impression that I'm getting is it's like the RC Elite 1, but with a little bit more cushion underfoot, which is pretty much the only thing I wanted from that shoe. I liked it. It's just that I can't really run in it for more than an hour before my foot starts to feel it. So I'm like, old manify it, maybe make it like the RC a little bit less elite, and give me a little more stack height. Then that's the shoe that I want. So that sounds great to me. But it does look like they changed the outsole. It looks less crazy. I really liked the outsole on the RC Elite 1. It was just like weird. It was unnecessarily weird, it felt like. And I kind of liked it. So we'll see. Ted and Ruth says, do you keep all your shoes or sell them off? I donate them to Goodwill once I'm done with it. There are a handful that I might keep even after 100 miles, because if I know that I'm going to want to compare it to other shoes later on, then I might want to have it on hand. But for the most part, I have like a box that they go into after I shoot the 100-mile video, then it goes into the box. And then once the box fills up, I take it over to Goodwill. CV76 says, watch The Martian with Matt Damon late last night. Director Ridley Scott used the GoPro Hero 4 in a lot of scenes. Yeah, I remember hearing about that too. And I did really enjoy that movie. But the thing that really got me about that movie is, one, it really impressed on me the idea of man, it's the terrain has got to be so inhospitable just on a daily basis, and it requires so much luck to survive. Or it would, in theory, require a lot of luck just to survive on the Martian surface. And then the second part was he figured out basically terraforming in a couple of months without any real hiccups. I mean, I don't know. I'll believe a lot of things. I'll believe that they made it to Mars and landed safely, and he survived all these Martian sandstorms and windstorms. But that he figured out terraforming, I don't know about that. It seems like he would have run into a lot more issues. But I overall enjoyed the movie. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more. Affluent Journeys. Good to see you again, AJ. It's a 12-mile run today on the Out of Zero Pro. And then he's got I don't know what that emoji is. It's emoji with kind of maybe a shocked emoji and then spinning in circles kind of thing. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. All right. Shoe Down says, anyone betting on the midsole life of the Nike Invincible? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm not sure. I could be convinced it would go either way, that it would either not last very long or it would last forever. Now, there's no React in it. And so comparisons to how the Turbo 2 does don't really work out because React foam seems to last forever. But and then if you think about your Vaporfly, you don't really want to race in them. I don't want to race in them after 150 miles. So but they still can definitely be used after that. So it's I don't know. There's plenty of outsole protection. So that way, you're not going to be chewing it up like the 4% always would get chewed up. And that's why a lot of people will kind of get rid of them because the bottoms of them look just so gnarly after a while. So, yeah. Nevi Frazier says, hey, I want to buy shoes today. Need an everyday trainer. I really like the Beacon 3. Let's see, what else have I been running in? I've been running in the Nike Invincible a lot. that's an everyday trainer for me. It's not the fastest shoe, but I've been really enjoying that one. What else have I been running in a lot? I'm trying to think. I'm interested in the Kinvara 12. I keep seeing pictures of it. And like it keeps popping up. So it's kind of like, either I'm getting very well targeted ads, or it's like, maybe it's time for me to pick that one up. So that's something that I would look at too. But I think also the 1080 version 11 definitely falls into everyday trainer category. So could be a very good one to look at. Jackson says, doing a video on the Glycerin 19s? I'm not sure. Probably not. I had the, which Glycerins did I have? Do I have the Glycerin 18? I bought a pair of Glycerins last year. It was my first pair of Glycerin ever. And I was very underwhelmed by them. So like, I don't know. I know that they've said that they've changed a lot this year. So maybe it depends on kind of like what else I see in the Max Cushion category. Now, like I just watched a video. Oh, I watched TFXC's video today about the Glide Ride 2. That's a shoe that I'm pretty interested in. I didn't get to run in it last year, and I'm thinking about picking it up this year. There's no gel in it, I think. So, all right, there we go. Lost the camera. It's definitely a sign that I got to get going. Here we go. Back onto the webcam now. So we'll switch it up a little bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll get to the Glycerin 9 or whatever the Glycerin is for this year. I'm just not sure. It's not high on my list, I gotta say. All right, we'll do one more. Yeah, Jackson said the 1080 version 11 made my heel slip so much, just returned it. That Ultra heel, it's weird. It's weird. It takes me like a good minute, like solid minute of the running for it to stop feeling weird. Then after that, I kind of don't even notice it, but it certainly feels weird. I know what people are talking about. Steve says, don't be a Glycerin hater. I mean, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I have a feeling they'll come out with the triple black again. Maybe I'll team up with Greg Itahara one more time, put another Warren Buffett face on it because I like doing that. So that could be fun. And Carrie says the missus didn't care for the Glycerin 18s. It just seemed like it seemed like a regular. I felt like if you told me, if I'd never run into Brooks before and you told me that this was the Brooks Ghost, they're like just regular everyday trainer, I'd been like, this is a good shoe. I could see why people like it. But the Glycerin's supposed to be a Max Cushion shoe, and it didn't feel like a Max Cushion shoe at all to me. So that was a big, that was like the strange thing for me. Martha says, came dangerously close to buying the Azeros Adios Pro after the live stream yesterday. 2 sizes left, one pair in her size. By the time she decided, she put in the cart, it disappeared. Yeah. I think you would have liked it, Martha. But I also don't think it's a must try for you. I mean, you love the Boston, and you've been really liking the Takumi Sen. So I'm like, the Adios Pro is going to be very different from those, but it also is pretty fun. So I think, if you're in for a WTH, I'd say go for it. I think you will enjoy it, but if you don't end up getting them, I wouldn't. It's not the end of the world, I think. So you can go either way. And Carrie Smith says the Adrenalins are better than the Glycerin IMO. Now, here's the weird thing. So I thought the Adrenaline was just a stability version of the Glycerin. Am I wrong on that? But then this year, Brooks seems to be switching between like not having like a stability version of a shoe, but just calling it that shoe like GTS or something like that. So it'd be like Glycerin GTX and like Launch GTS or something, So like that's kind of where I thought it was, but then I thought, then why does the Adrenaline exist? That part kind of like confuses me. Is the Adrenaline the same thing as the Glycerin GTS, or is that something different too? That makes like very little sense to me, especially from a shoe that's from a company that's usually as like sensible as Brooks is, So I don't know. Martha says, I do have a pair of the Mango Next Percent saved for the Hope for October Marathon. Tested them for 6 miles on the mill. Don't really need Adios Pro. Yeah. If you've already got the Mango Next Percent, then like the reason to get the Audios Pro, I think, is even less. It is fun though. But yeah, that definitely makes sense then. All right. Ed Bud, what's going on, Ed? He said it's a Fish and Chips Friday. I saw that a little bit earlier today. He says, well, Mike will smash tomorrow. I hope so. Today I felt like I felt very lethargic. I did go for the first run in the Puma DV8 Nitro, and we'll end on this one. It's an interesting shoe. I'm still trying to figure it out a little bit. So I think, tomorrow's video will be about that. And it's going to be a little bit of a, it's interesting, but I need to run this a little bit more. But overall positive. But I think a big part of my run today was just like, I took a rest day yesterday, and today my legs felt like garbage, really. I don't think it was the shoes. So I'm trying to like tease that out from my experience with the shoe. But I'm like, wow, that's why they have shakeout runs, to shake out all like the whatever gunk built up over the day yesterday since I didn't run. So I'm feeling good about that. I'm looking closely at the weather. I would rather go on a less windy day than a windy day, because even if I can figure out a way to make it an all tailwind, Chicago will find a way to make it a headwind, no matter what the route I plan is. So I'm going to try to go for the less windy day. So I might be running it tomorrow. I might be running it Sunday. We'll see. You guys will see it probably on Strava if you're following me there. So yeah, and we'll see. But whatever day I do it, whether it's tomorrow or Sunday, feeling good. I shook out all the bad stuff today. So I got rid of that. Nothing but good stuff left. So thanks everybody for all your support. Good to see you guys. I'm going to leave it for there today. And I'll see you guys again, both in the video tomorrow morning. We'll talk about the DV8 Nitro. And then we'll do another live stream, same time as today, 3 p.m. Central. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. In the meantime, be safe out there.